Hey, everybody. All right, here we go. You are ready. This would be interview scene two, which is this one. And there's Shawn. And there's the
Hey,
spectacles.
should I wear them? Should I keep them on?
You should keep 'em on. Can you see through that?
Yeah. It's complete AR.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
And the being able to see through it, it is glass. It's not cameras, right? You're actually seeing.
yeah. It's glass. It's not like I'm not seeing the camera
You're
output.
not seeing a reconstruction of reality. You're seeing actual
Exactly,
reality.
exactly. I'm seeing full passport.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think the batteries. Uh, it keeps it fires up like lickety split, and I have some options in front of me. Um, but I can't tell. Yeah. Look, that's it starts up the experience and then it just kind of goes out. But we can talk through it.
I want to see if I can do a background select color. Let's do screen color. Let's see if I can do. I'll do this as like a black. Right. This is okay. Yeah, there. That's better. Anyway, I was just playing with stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, for those who don't know, we were going to talk about spectacles tonight. And as you can see, Shawn already has his and is playing. So I'm gonna be quiet and just listen because tonight's gonna be education for me. Uh, what have you done with it? What have you started with? How have you played?
So what have I done with it? I connected it to the Lens Studio. They have such a head start, right? Like everything's already up and running. The developer environment is not, you don't have to pay for it, unlike my Apple Vision Pro. With Unity, I have to pay for it. It's just crazy. I mean, you can still develop an Apple Vision Pro with using the core libraries, but if you want to get like more advanced features, you have to pay some crazy amount to Unity, and there's absolutely none of that.
Oh, but
Yeah,
for
did you not realize that?
not for unit. Well, see, everything I've done is in Swift. So
Yeah.
building, you have to have an Apple developer account, and that's like $100 a year, which is fine.
hmm But if you wanted to take advantage of any of the Unity libraries, you have to pay like $2,500 a year. Yeah, exactly. And they were so purposeful. Like you can with a developer account, you can like develop stuff, but you can't push it to the glasses. I mean to the Apple Vision Pro.
That sounds broken.
Yeah. Now, not Unity, but Unreal has now started to adopt libraries that allow you to have access to it, and that's not the same. They don't have the same situation. But in any case,
Other Unity libraries?
mhm. So if you were doing any type of AR, VR in any of the context, Unity has a leg up. I mean, you can have an argument that Unreal has a leg up, but certainly a lot of people use Unity.
Right.
You can convert what you already have over, and they have all these tools and libraries to use. But unless you pay this licensing fee per year, you don't have access to them. Now, luckily, with Swift, you can Swift UI, you can develop. I'm sorry, but Vision UI, you can develop your own interfaces. But when you want to if you want to develop more, advanced stuff, you're going to need some of these libraries.
Wow. Okay. So if I want to build an app for, let's say I want to build an app for Apple Vision Pro and I don't want to use Swift UI and I want to use Unity, I have to pay $2,500 a year to do that.
I think that's accurate. Yeah.
And then what about what if I wanted to do it? Can does Vision Pro support Unreal?
They do, and it's new, but I mean, they just announced it maybe I don't know 2 months ago.
Okay.
Unreal access to it. So yeah, so
Yeah.
yes, you can. So they're still kind of working out the kinks, but yeah.
Yeah, because all the Apple Vision Pro stuff I've done, and it's actually been more than I planned on, but it's been a lot, is all been on
Hmm.
Swift, and it's been great.
Hmm.
But like
Yeah.
we've done immersive, partial immersive, fully immersive, AR, all of that. Uh,
Hmm.
anyway, that's fascinating. I did not know that about Unity, and I'm a big C sharp guy, and I love C sharp. But
Yeah.
wow, that
I just
sucks.
assume all this time. I just assume your corporate overlords are taking care of the licensing, so you just you wouldn't know about
No, no, no. I if anybody's gonna know about budgets, it would be me. Yeah, no.
it.
That's why maybe that's why we didn't do Unity because I probably figured that out a while ago and was like, all right, we're gonna go with Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, Swift is great though. I mean, I'm fine with that for like I have not seen a purpose for Unity because mainly Apple is so ahead of everyone else in regards to
Hmm.
um, building for the Vision Pro, obviously, because it's their
Yeah.
hardware. So the Unity when Apple Vision Pro first came out, the Unity libraries were so lagging behind that if you
Hmm.
didn't build on Swift, you wouldn't have access to 90% of the stuff you want to do.
No,
Unity
I think that
Unity's caught up. It's gotten better.
yeah. But I think that's still a very valid point. Like the libraries that they extended off of Swift UI to make it for Vision, it's very mature, it's very robust, and it's very connectable. Like if you know how to create a view in Swift UI, it's not a big leap to know how to do something similar.
No.
And they do all the heavy lifting for you. They do all the math, they do all the positioning.
Yep.
So I think that they've done a great job.
And I think the only like real leap to go from iOS to Vision is the immersive spaces and understanding that whole Reality Composer Pro and being able to
Yeah.
play with that. Um,
Yeah, and again, their tutorials and their
yeah,
templates.
Apple's documentation is amazing. Like, and if you take the time to go through it, you'll figure out 90% of what you need. That other
Yeah,
10% that they're gonna leave that up to you to figure out.
yeah, and I feel very similarly for Lens Studio, right? So for Snap, I don't know if you saw the news, but Facebook has closed down their AR. What's the Facebook one? Their AR library, their the filters and AR filters and stuff that they were doing, they are shutting down all of that. So now it's literally just Snap.
That's it.
Yeah, I would imagine there might be some other third party, but the thing that I don't think people can appreciate is how far Snap is with filters, AR filters, than everybody else. Like they were tied to the phone, but we've had Snap glasses what 3 4 years now. Like
I,
we haven't had full AR, but we've had these lenses that were almost the equivalent of what Meta has been doing for the last 2 years,
oh,
right? You can take photos. You used to be able to. They had vending machines. You be able to go to a vending machine and buy them. They were so far ahead of the curve in that regard, and I feel like because they pioneered so much of this phone-based AR filters and interactions, now that we have these full AR glasses, they have such an advantage.
that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, how do they feel? Let's start with that.
So I mean, they feel pretty comfortable. They feel like a rather large pair of sunglasses. I'm charging them now. I don't even think I should just take these up because I don't think it's charging while I'm wearing them. But oh, it was charging. I heard it disconnect. um, they feel comfortable. They don't feel heavy. For granted, but let's just be fair. I'm used to wearing Meta Quest, Apple Vision Pro, so it really probably wouldn't register to me anyway. But I think they feel pretty comfortable. They're thick. They're big boys. They're thick,
Yeah.
thick boys. But
Wait, can
you know,
you
I,
can you fold them?
yeah,
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay.
yeah. Yeah. So another thing that don't think people quite get is where we are in the evolution of the tech and the scale, right? So at the top of the totem pole right now, we have the AVP.
Right.
And I saw something today on Twitter or X. Someone took the AVP off of its strap and just put it down, and then put another pair of glasses next to it. The actual AVP is not that much bigger than this. Like if I do this and just put this on a table, my AVP is actually smaller in size than these are.
That's that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, Apple, listen, it costs 10 times as much, but it's just well done. The point I was trying to make was that if that's the top of the tech, which I think we can all agree, no matter if you forget about price, AVP is completely ahead of the curve in every way. And I don't know if you heard this, but Apple next week is releasing a movie called Submerge. It's a 17-minute full movie that they shot in full immersive.
Yeah. No,
You
I've seen the trailer for it,
see
and
the trailer, right? Like, did you watch the trailer in your AVP?
I did not. No.
No. Yeah.
I have a feeling it would make me nauseous.
Well, if it can do that, that's another like like okay, I'm not talking about immersion blow. You're not getting sick because it's fast moving and not handling graphics very well. The content and your spatial awareness, it's so immersive that yeah, if you go up to a high floor, I might get a little sick, or if you drop me in the water really fast.
Yep.
It so again, what I'm trying to say is, listen, on the one side, we have the current Meta glasses, which for what they do is awesome. So I will call out Bose. So I went to South by Southwest 2018, and they were doing the Bose head glasses, and I brought them. They were only sound. They had immersive sound. They didn't have any augmentation, and they didn't have any cameras. But the writing was on the wall. Like I can see where this was going. And they had some apps. Like I remember Headspace was in it. It was full immersive surround sound. And I thought to myself, okay, this I can see where this is going, right?
Right.
And we went from there to the Meta glasses, where okay, there's no augmentation of your vision, but it's very convenient to have. We're always recording stuff in this format, so we can just ask Meta to record something, and that's been going very well for them, right? If you're shooting content on Facebook or Instagram, hey Meta, record this. Hey Meta, what am I looking at? That's a game changer. It's not the top of the tech, but they know what the use case is, right?
Right.
And that is that's over here. These are so much more advanced than they are. And their Project Orion that they just announced, I saw someone from Snap say this, and I have to agree with them. They're talking about 2 years before we even see those Orions, or maybe even more. It's currently costing them 10 grand to make a prototype. So on the one side, we have Apple. They are selling their headset at 3,700, 3,500.
3,500. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought the case, so it's 3,700 bucks. The most expensive Apple product I've ever bought, and I've bought pretty much every one of them. Um, okay, you have that side of it, and now these guys can do everything that Orion can do, and I have access. I mean, I'm paying. I pay 12. I'm going to pay 1,200 bucks.
For the
And
spectacles?
yeah, because you pay over a year, it's $100 a year.
Oh, okay.
So
100 bucks a month.
Yeah, $100 a month. And they give you an option. You can just pay it outright, or you can just pay it over time.
Sure.
I have access today. It has full pass-through capabilities. It has all of their software tech. Like you guys can't see what I can see, but when I cut the thing on, it connects to Snap right away, and I can interact with any number of experiences, and they are pretty compelling. one thing that caught me off guard was one of the educational experiences was not only what I saw, but it was talking, it was waiting for you to say something. I didn't expect that level of fidelity in the interactions.
So it's got a mic in it too.
Yes.
That's cool. What's the battery life of that? Fully charged.
Um, I have no idea, but it must be pretty short because I charged it yesterday, it didn't touch it, and then I was thought I was ready for today, and it's dead.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would think it's a couple hours.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
Unused.
2 hours is what I've generally heard. I was just curious of
Yeah,
the reality since you actually have it.
yeah. I've been, we just ended Techstar, so I really haven't had a lot of time to dig in to building something. But I think that's been a benefit because I've been kind of like cycling. Well, what are we going to build? What are we going to build? What are we
Well,
going to build?
also you've been probably playing with what it already has as default too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and again, you know, using Meta, using Apple's products. I mean, Apple's products obviously just the inclusion, everything, all the levels of interaction. And I have to say, they nailed the hand tracking. That's like off the rip. They nailed the hand tracking,
On
which is so
Apple Vision
different.
Pro or on.
Here they have the same gestures.
Oh,
They have the
okay.
same gestures with AVP. And again, another benefit to having Apple in this market, it just elevates everybody else's game,
That's true.
right? Like my Meta Quest 3, the interface is, I mean, it's like 10x. Like the pressure that Apple's been able to put on Meta to bring things forward, the pass through has improved, the hand tracking has improved, the general interactions has improved, all by just having competition.
The pass through on the original Oculus was trash.
It was terrible.
It was
Two was
horrible.
black and white.
It was
Even the
bad.
even three was, oh, you got color, but it looked like you were looking through a paper bag. It was still
Well, it
pretty bad.
reminded me of 8-bit life, right, of that
Yeah,
kind of stuff. But yeah, but the pass through on Apple Vision Pro is like it's creepy, great.
I mean, you can look to something, around something. It's yeah, yeah.
So while you're wearing that and you're looking at something, does it have eye tracking or something, or how does it know what you're looking at, or is there cameras out facing?
Well, there's cameras out facing for sure. I think they're right here. You might be able to see
Okay,
them,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. There's no eye tracking,
Okay.
so this must be external.
So when it sees something in the camera, it's actually doing the processing of that and then giving you the augmented part of it. Is that
Yeah,
it?
it's giving me the overlay. It's giving me the overlay. So basically, it can see in 3D space. It can anchor, and again, it's using very like used tech, like tech that it's been using, right? Okay, before it would just use the phone's camera to do the similar thing, right? I'm looking, I can see the space, I know where I'm going to anchor this experience or this 3D model or this thing, and everything else kind of folds around it.
Got it. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. So
Yeah,
it's like a real life heads up display is what it sounds like.
absolutely. Yeah, in color, in surround sound,
Right.
everything.
And yeah, the sound I think would probably be a sense I wouldn't expect.
Yeah, like I don't. I think that's a good way to put it. Like when I put it on, and you get the beeps and the bops. That was cool. But when I was in an experience and it started talking to me, um, that really kind of like, oh wait a minute, I didn't expect that.
That's yeah, it's borderline Black Mirror kind of stuff, right?
It's so funny because we're like that reference gets thrown around so much, but like we're so far beyond. Like it's just now we're at that point when the stories will start coming in, right? Like when the things will just start like, I mean, and I have to be transparent, right? I had I was a Google Glass Explorer, like I had that, and even that every iteration of the tech brings so much innovation, but also so much stress about privacy and misuse and just it changes. I remember, so one, being a geek. There's a professor at Stanford. I mean, this is like, let me see. I'm trying to get my time zones right. This is early 2000s, 2000s to mid 2000s. This guy had a camera screwed to his skull. This professor, and he's very well regarded as the father of wearable tech. Fast forward 2015, 14, 15, Google Glass comes out. I'm walking around with one. I'm hearing stories. He was at a McDonald's or Burger King. Someone tried to, thinking they were glasses, like Google Glass, they tried to yank it off his face, but it's attached to his head. It was terrible. So like the as we grow in the tech and what it can do, there's an equal distrust and concerns about privacy. Like even now, Meta is dealing with that, right? Like the glasses are awesome, but then people are like, oh, privacy. And even though the glasses actually light up when you're recording, they people still have a lot of concerns.
Well, and they're all. I mean, there's gonna be hackers out there that'll figure out how to turn that light off. I
Yeah, yeah.
as
I
as
mean,
long as as long as there's a way to figure it out, they're gonna figure it out. They're not. I mean, they have nothing but the free time to do it right now, and it's crazy that it's the kids that are figuring out most of that stuff
oh,
because they
absolutely,
have that
absolutely.
free time and they're like, oh, cool, new hardware. Let's see what we can do.
I mean, every update, they are engineer. They're going through the code. They're going through the references. They're figuring it out.
Right.
Um, you know, I feel like, and I'm trying to find the right position to say this. The assumption of privacy in public is probably not a realistic thing, right?
No.
And it hasn't been for quite some. And then I'll put that there, and I know that's kind of kind of a grenade, but you also have to realize that we have given all of Google, Facebook, Apple so much of our data, credit card companies, like it's a little unrealistic to think, oh no, now I want to be upset about my data.
Right.
Now, I don't think that my giving you access to this general data co-signs misuse, right? I'm not co-signing misuse of that data.
Right.
I just think that I can record anything in public with my phone. Like I think the idea that we should hold back this tech because somehow it does a better recording, I think that's not correct.
Well, and like I've actually, I there was a reporter that was actually outside of our building filming, and I was like, I don't want to be on camera. He's like, you're in a public space, and I was
Yep.
like, oh, so I left that public space.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, you have the option to be like, oh, you know what? I don't want to, and again, I think there's nuances to it, right? You can be recorded, but they still need your release to use the recording.
Not for news, apparently.
Oh, because I know, I mean, I go to a lot of places and they make you sign a waiver, like anything we record, we can use. I didn't realize that would be different.
No, if it's I mean, I'm assuming that guy wasn't lying to me, but people do. But
Mm-hmm.
for news things, they don't get releases for like let's say there's a hurricane. Great example, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're filming people that are being evacuated, and they're interviewing on camera. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they need a release for that. I don't know that. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal
Yeah.
advice.
Oh
But
yes, it's definitely not legal advice.
um, but I don't think they need that in regards to that. If they're going to use it for commercial use, then
Mm-hmm.
absolutely they need a model release. But
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. It kind of that makes sense. Like the thing that the times I've been asked for a media release, it's all been connected to something else.
right, they're like, "Hey, you're an extra in this Netflix special, then you're in it, right? And we need your
Exactly.
release." And if they don't, they'll just pull you out, and they're like, or blur you. And
Yes, they do the
um,
digital thing.
no, but I'm wondering because right now this is still like not mainstream. It's still on the edge, right? There's people like us
Mm-hmm.
playing with it, and then I'm wondering about the like when this becomes mainstream. And I walk down the street, and let's say 8 out of 10 people are wearing some kind of recording device, not carrying their phone because that's already 10 out of 10, right? But
Hmm.
actually wearing a recordable device, like then privacy is truly dead because all of
Yeah.
that data is going
Hmm.
somewhere. And I think that's one of the things that people haven't thought of is, oh no, I'm going to share all this with my friends. Well, as soon as
Hmm.
it hits something, somebody's processing that somewhere and doing
Yep.
something with it.
Exactly right. And you have no idea what
Well,
they're doing.
that's like the even voice, right? So what
Hmm.
was it? 11 Labs. So 11 Labs voice uh,
Hmm.
cloning is amazing. It's
Yep.
the
You can
the
clone
best I've
anybody, get them
seen.
saved.
Yeah. Here's one thing I want to bring up that you had mentioned. So Apple is great because they're actually raising the bar for the competition. Um,
Hmm.
or doing so well they're crushing the competition. I just read an article like today, I think it was today. Um, HoloLens is dead.
Well,
Microsoft
HoloLens.
Microsoft officially has stopped producing them.
Yeah, so I saw that I think last week, right?
Yeah.
Which is a shame, right? Because they are the grandfather of all of these things, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also very glad I didn't spend that money, that 3 grand. I was so every like when they released one, I wanted it so bad,
You
and
can
then when
get
they
it at a
released two,
discount right now, I bet.
oh yeah, and that's true. But I also got burnt, so I bought Magically
Yep.
one for $100. I was at I was demoing the Apple Vision Pro, and I was with someone else, like another company, and they had different headsets, and they had the Magic Leap one, and it was still usable. It was still. I would think that the fidelity of Magic Leap is very on par with what I'm seeing in my glasses now.
Wow.
Like these are better, but not a huge order of magnitude better, right? I was able to buy it for $100, and as soon as I set it up, it was like, oh, by the way, this is out of support.
Good luck.
This might not work in 3 months. I was like, all right, I'll deal with this later. But I think Magic Leap is over. I think HoloLens. Now let's talk about HoloLens, right?
Okay.
Microsoft, they just do these weird things. Going back to the Courier, right? They will lead generations ahead of tech in a space. You're familiar with the concept of the Courier, right? Like the foldable PDA device
Hmm.
that had all everybody like I still use it as reference when I think about products, right? Um, and they just didn't do it. I mean, it's a long story about danger and competition and Bill Gates getting mad because email wasn't a first class citizen on the device. And he just was like, no, like we do emails. And he just kind of poo pooed it. But I feel there's like a thread, right? Like they had HoloLens. I mean, before HoloLens, they had Surface Table. Like they just have this
That was
history,
amazing.
dude.
Yeah, I got to
Uh,
play with that at a conference I went to, and it was like one of their first releases, and I was like,
yeah,
"This thing's crazy."
it just changed. It changed everything, right? Like how we interact with these type of devices. And again, for the time, the tech was pretty impressive. What did it do? Nothing. They education barely, commercial barely, and
Right.
then they went from that to the laptops to the A10, the huge Surface displays,
Yep.
the Surface Hub, even the
Yep.
television. But they have a rich history of tech. They're ahead of the curve, and then just somehow they drop the baton. Like
Yeah,
they're the lead.
I still love my Surface, and
Mm-hmm.
I still have it, and I will probably never get rid of that Surface. It'll. That's the other thing is everyone's like, "Oh, I need the latest and greatest iPhone or blah blah blah," and I'm like, I'm pretty good with my original Surface. It still works,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah. I
doing
tell
fine.
you, I forgot the name, but the last foldable device that the second generation, it didn't get a lot of love, but I was always a fan of that. I wanted them to do like the tablet style folding device because I thought they were going in the right direction. But again, they just have a history of dropping the ball. I mean, I don't know,
Well, I mean, let's
like,
talk about the Windows Phone then, right?
oh my God. And again, it's all connected. The Courier, Windows Phone,
Yeah.
there was just when you hear the backstories, and you're a Microsoft guy, like
Yep.
you probably know some of these stories. Like when you hear all the infighting with the different product companies trying to bring these things to the table, and just for them to go really not great.
Well, I mean, I think a lot has changed since Satya Nadella took over, and
Yeah.
he's amazing. Like what he has done for that company. Like I think the acquisition of GitHub was one of the probably the smartest business moves I've ever seen, because
Mm-hmm.
immediately after that happened, Copilot came
Mm-hmm.
out.
Yeah, they had access to it. I mean, well, if we're on this train and we got to take the train to its full logical conclusion, that opened the door to where we are right now. And they basically own AI. They own a large portion of
Yep.
the company that is what we
OpenAI.
consider to be AI.
Yep.
It's the commercial version of what people say ChatGPT. Like it's the it's like the
It's the Kleenex of AI.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's the mix of AI
Or
thing.
the band-aid of AI. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this they brought themselves not only a seat at the table, but they're going to be at the top of the total. They're going to be at the top of the pyramid pretty much forever.
Well, Anthropic is giving them a good run for their money, though. And
Sure. And I'm a Claude, so
yeah, I
I
know you and I are both Claude fans.
yeah, and I still pay for ChatGPT. I just don't know how much longer. I tell you, if Claude had an app and a voice assistant on the same level as ChatGPT, I think I might just stick with them.
So, do you use the voice assistants a lot?
I do. I do use it a lot, and I use it. It's I use it in the car. I use it when I'm just riffing on ideas. I like to talk to myself. So it's been a game changer.
Okay, because if you're using it, I'm thinking of like I live in New York, so
Mm-hmm.
using voice assistants in New York not really
Mm-hmm.
feasible just because of all the background noise and all the other noise going around me and all the other
Sure, 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 sure.
conversations. And like if I
Yeah.
was in my car, absolutely, I would probably use it a thousand times more.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm like, I don't know how people use any type of like I've seen people like text
Mm-hmm.
with voice trying to on
Mm-hmm.
the subway as a train goes by, and they just get mad, and it's kind of funny. And I was like, yeah, you can't
Yeah,
do that. You're in New York, buddy. You can't do that here.
yeah. No, definitely, New York is a edge case. I have to say, my AirPod Max, the noise cancellation. I know we talked about this
Yeah,
briefly, but
you said it's
Chef's
really
Kiss.
good.
Yeah, it's so loud here down. I'm in Pont City. It's so loud downstairs, and when I'm wearing my headphones, sometimes I forget that there are other people around.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah, which is always a plus.
Yeah.
um, yeah, but
Or a
HoloLens,
security risk.
yeah, or I walk off a cliff because I can't pay attention.
Right.
Yeah, we can pour out a little liquor for HoloLens for fallen
Yeah,
foes.
it's our fallen homies. Yeah. That's
Yeah, yeah.
sad.
It's funny because I heard that their military contract, right? So the last time they got any attention was the military contract was not going very well because it's new tech, it's hard to do, and when you put in when you put in your tech in charge of people's lives, it got to be beyond reproach, and it wasn't. But I heard that what's this guy's name?
Hold on one
The
sec.
guy, absolutely.
Sorry, my wife is trying to get something back from an Uber driver and they're calling on my phone. How's that
Yo,
for reality?
yeah, I know, right? Like breakthrough, right? Um,
This is live.
mhm. But what's it? I was trying to remember this guy's name.
Wait,
The guy who
one
created.
sec.
Yep.
Here. Give him some. You got your keys? All right, sorry.
No, you good. You good.
Okay.
Palmer Lucky. I heard that he is taking over the HoloLens military contract.
Wait, who is?
Palmer Lucky.
Oh, nice.
Well, I mean, his politics are questionable,
Yeah,
but what
but
he's
it means it's not dead in the water, though.
well that part, but also look, yes, let's keep to tech, right?
Yeah,
I also heard, yeah,
today.
I also heard that he might be coming back to Facebook.
Really?
Well, it was weird because there was a person who said basically they would like one of the people who in charge of Meta was saying, "Hey, I'm really sorry about the way we treated you," which was super unusual, right? So like people are starting to speculate like the reason why that was done is because he might make his way back to Meta, which I find that hard to believe because Anvil is a multi-billion-dollar situation,
Right.
you know, and that's his. It's not like it's his. He's built that,
Yeah,
but
I don't see that happening, but you never know. I mean, people do crazier things.
this is true. This is very true. But I definitely heard that he's taking over the military Hololens situation.
Well, I know that tech was really really cool and it worked really really well.
Mm-hmm.
It just was not widely adopted, and I think that's mainly due to the hardware and price point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and I think this is a very relevant point to the conversation, right? We're in this generation, like I was trying to lay it out, right? On this side, we have the meta glasses, which are cool. They have nailed the use case. The
Yes,
tech is not that advanced, but it's relatively advanced, right? Over here, we have the Apple Vision Pro, and now somewhere in the middle, we now have these guys,
spectacles.
spectacles, and these have the potential. I think this potential is almost unlimited, right? Like what they're going to learn by giving us developers and allowing us to create experiences is one thing, but what they're going to learn from tech, if this is where they are in this iteration, oh great, they cut the lights out. I got to go hit the switch. Give me a second.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be,
Oh,
I'll be right
that's
back.
kind of funny. I was like, you just went dark. So tonight is an interesting one because we're all dealing with reality. So if you're wondering if this is live, 100% this is live.
Absolutely, this is live.
You can't get live.
You can't get more live than this.
Yeah.
It might bite you.
So
Yeah,
go,
but
yeah, go ahead.
so I think that this tech in a year or 2 years, because Snap has such a history of doing AR, will be possibly better than Orion.
So do you think the price point of that will come down to be more of a consumer grade price point?
I think so, right? Like let's just think about it, right? Um, let's use Meta Pro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meta Pro was released for $1,200.
Yep.
I brought it. I returned it. I didn't open it. I bought it $1,200, and less than a year, almost 2 years later, it was $600.
Yeah.
And $600 seems to be, I think between $400 and $600 seems to be the sweet spot.
Well, for sure, because I mean, look what people are paying for iPhones now. They're what,
Oh,
$1,100 out the door?
and I think, I mean, as an early adopter, I will buy a device that's equal to my phone's price.
Right. And I
Yeah,
think
without thinking about it.
whatever the standard is
Yep.
being set by whatever device you currently have.
Yeah.
So if I were to buy a new laptop, I would pay whatever the latest MacBook is, right? So if I'm paying
Mm-hmm.
$2,000 for a MacBook and then a new Ubuntu laptop comes out that's better than, okay, it won't be better than a MacBook, but if it were, I would pay
Mm-hmm.
$2,000 for it. And now with carrying my phone around, I pay what, $700-800. I'll probably pay that for something else that'll be a wearable device.
Yes. But this kind of brings up another point. Are we entering the last rung or the last hurrah for phones? I mean, the writing's been on the wall for quite some time. Just in the same way that computers have not been the most dominant PC usage, laptops, PCs, they have been slowly been getting sunsetted by phones and tablets.
No, I mean, I've seen more people in conferences now just having tablets, and then they'll take a picture with their iPad and then they'll start typing their
Mm-hmm.
whatever latest influencer blog post. And I was on a conference call today, and this guy was on this call and sounded like amazing. And I just because obviously we're doing a podcast, I was like, "What mic are you on?" And he was like, "I'm on a MacBook Pro." And that was it.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
that is his
yeah.
entire studio is just
Mm-hmm.
his MacBook Pro because the camera's great, the audio was amazing, and
Mm-hmm.
you technically don't need more than that. So yeah, I so do you think phones are gonna go away and we're gonna all have glasses instead and just like tap and answer a call and tap and go away, or even tap answer a call and then see somebody VR wise or AR wise?
I do, and I think the writing's been on the wall. I think the tech has been slowly introducing the concept of give me what I need right when I need it and go away. That was the number one lesson that I got from Google Glass, just in time data. That was they introduced that with the little card. You look up, get the data you need, then go back to what you were doing, and slowly that has been growing. Like different types of use cases like that have been growing. The way we consume data has been peekaboo for quite some time.
Well, with OpenAI and NVIDIA, let's just because
Mm-hmm.
NVIDIA is just eating up the AI market.
The whole
There's a
world.
yeah, they're supposed to be having a new chip that's going to be designed specifically for AI. So if that chip starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller, more efficient, and then more a larger capacity also, imagine if we had a full chat GPT. Let's not even push it. Like let's have chat GPT 2.0, right?
Yeah,
In a chip with all of that data in the device. So we're getting
yeah.
that data real time without a network connection. At that point, like, will that be a Google killer at that point? Who's going to search anymore? We'll have all the answers right there.
Well, that brings up an interesting one. Llama has an on-device model. I don't know how good it is, but they have like we're getting to the point where we have on-device models, right? I
Right.
think that's what might be holding up the implementation on the latest iOS iPhone 18. But I think some of that has to be on device because that's a big. Apple has been talking about that. Like some of this has to be on device because of their security, right? Like your data can't leave the device to go out to be part of. That was a big part of their differentiator, and that's using ChatGPT, right? So like they have a bridge that will allow you to interact with Apple's version of super intelligence, but on device.
Right.
And I know Llama has a on device model. I just don't know how good it is, right? So yes, I think
It'll
we're
get
going.
better.
Yeah, it will get better. I mean, Llama is pretty amazing already, but I think yes, we will have on-device models and interfaces that will allow if you're. I just think if we can augment view and deliver data in real time and audio in real time, then you won't need a phone.
And you brought up one very, very important part in real time.
Yeah,
And that's the like I think having all of access to that data because I'll watch movies all the time and I'll bother my wife and going, "What movie was she in?" And I get the answer because she knows all of that. But but imagine being able to like just why do I like oh, I forgot what it was, but somebody was like you'll see somebody, where do I know them from?
oh yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
and I was watching I wish I remember what it was in. But anyway, this would be a great opportunity. What do I know that from? Anyway,
Mm.
they would be able to the camera would recognize the person, say you had lunch with that person 6 weeks ago at this restaurant and you talked about this. Like,
That would be amazing. And again, even that. this is very interesting because this goes into Copilot, like the Copilot enabled laptops, right?
Right.
Their whole time machine type thing where it is keeping context to everything you do on device,
Yep.
and you can at a moment's notice just grab it back, which everyone is kind of going crazy because like, oh,
Privacy. Yeah, it
their
knows
privacy, he's not
everything.
implemented. Listen,
Eh.
I have a friend. The moment that came out, even in beta, he dumped Windows and went to Ubuntu laptop like immediately. He had read something, he saw something, he didn't like it, he immediately dumped Windows.
Well, have you ever used Notion?
Yes, I use Notion for a lot.
So just imagine Notion knowing everything without you having to enter it.
And we're kind of there, right? Like, so Notion has implemented AI, and it part of. So let's talk about that whole space. Gemini, right, which is Google,
Yep.
which strangely enough just doesn't do a good job of interacting with Google products. Like I just had the wrong expectation when I started using Gemini. I thought, hey, go into my Google Docs and come up with a consensus of whatever I'm talking about. And it was like I can't do that.
Well, I tried to even use it with Sheets and I was very disappointed. I was like, hey, write a formula that does this. And then I go to Claude, ask the same question, and then I paste it and I'm done.
Yeah, you're done, right? So I don't know what they're on, but so I think
So it was
I do,
Gemini,
yeah,
Notion.
Gemini, Gemini, oh Notion. So I've done. I had an experience, and I want to bring Coda into this. So Coda is like a Notion competitor, but one thing I think that they were a little bit more ahead of the game with AI, but I think it's the same, right? One thing initially with ChatGPT, you couldn't have like really long, bouts of text. So the idea that I can have a Notion document that as long as I want and have context and be able to ask it questions like talk to a document the way I would talk to a person,
That would be
right?
amazing.
That I had that experience with Coda, and I'm not, and I think I know that Notion has gotten there, but I first had it with Coda. I had a 5 hour discovery call with a client, and I took the transcript from this 5 hour call and stuck it into a document, and I asked the document the principal, her name was Paris. I said, well, what was Paris' main point at the end of the meeting? And it spit out a summary of everything the client was expecting and needing. And it was just amazing. Like that is the type of interactions that we need to be able to have with our data. And if we could have that without having to type something, just simply ask for it, I'm here for it.
So I have a question. Is this what you're talking about? Coder?
Coda, CODA. Is that
Oh,
yeah,
CODA. CODA. Whoops. Hey, look, this is my little thing.
yeah. Good. Your mental health protection.
Well, I know it's an extension that I actually created.
Oh, you actually built it.
I
Okay.
built that one from scratch. So, yeah. I wanted to see how fast I could build a Chrome extension. Pretty quick. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait. Yeah. This looks right. Hold on.
It looks very notiony.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, everything looks nicely now. I mean, that's what happens when you get worth $1 billion.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Well, can you? I mean, can we just take a second and acknowledge that Notion was originally a web developer tool?
Yeah. And Notion was
Crazy.
amazing. And
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
it's overkill for, I mean, Notion. So, what I like Notion for note taking. That's what I like. I started with Notepad plus plus, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then I
Mm-hmm.
used OneNote for a while because I was at Microsoft and everybody used OneNote there. And then I
Mm-hmm.
moved to uh
Evernote.
I did move to Evernote. I loved
OG.
Evernote.
They Evernote is a cautionary tale for how to alienate your customer.
Oh my god, Evernote was so good and they overkilled
And
it.
it just, I mean, again, I'm sure at some part of this has something to do with some private equity company or something because they were perfect, and then they
Stop.
just
They just all they had to do was stop. They did
yeah.
They were so good. But no, the way I take all my notes now,
Hmm.
Visual Studio Code, VS Code.
I respect that. I don't do that, but I respect that.
But
Like
and the other
Markdown.
thing is, I have a repo that I use
Mhm.
for all of my
Now
notes.
that is the cheat. That's the game right there.
That's
I you know
because
people
then I
don't
have a
like.
whole history. I don't do merge requests on my notes,
Yep, yep. You just pull. You
but
can find.
I push to main, and that's I call it a day. But I have history
Hmm.
of like anytime I'll throw in a new node, I'll create a new folder. All my folder structures are the way I label everything. If I want to move something, I drag it to another folder, and it's done.
Yeah, you just no. I like that a lot, and I use that for like when I'm mentoring new developers. Like even just like your just set up your configuration files. As a developer, the bane of our existence is going from one machine to another and losing like a week worth of trying to get everything configured.
Yeah,
And of course, because it all well, I think Visual Studio Code has come a long way, but sticking all your files or your configuration files either in a container, which I think that's probably where we should be going, like just grab a
sure.
container, plug it in, and go. Just put
Yeah.
a tape in the VCR and play. But also, I think putting things in like configuration files and repos and just pulling it down and getting going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's the way I like and in my like folders, I'll have work folders, I'll have personal folders, and then I'll also have code folders. And in the
Yeah.
code folders, I'll even have it broken down by language. I was like, all right, I'm doing Node, I'm doing Python, I'm doing whatever the next one is, like C sharp, and then I'll have like all these scripts that I've created over time. I even have some VBA stuff that I've done back in the day. And
That's good. You just have a second brain. Like I think
well,
this whole
exactly.
concept
And people are like, have you ever? I was like, of course I have. And I'll pull up that repo and they'll be like, oh
yeah.
my gosh, I can't believe you did it that quick. Well, I did it back in 1992 and I still have that code. But
I always say a great developer is a great librarian.
and I was blessed enough to work at a company called Serial Solutions, and I'll drop that name because they did library management. And I hung out with people who had master's degree in library science. And if you want to
Hmm.
talk to smart people, hang out with a librarian. Their trivia knowledge is amazing, and the way they
Yeah.
organize things is like there's actually an old roommate of mine, friend of mine too, is an information architect, and
Hmm.
that's literally his job. And I was like, how is that a job? And then I realized what he does, and I was like, oh, that's a really hard job. And
Yep.
he organizes all that information for everybody. And like now, the big thing is now not only does he organize, he tags it. And how good is that for AI? That is the golden goose of AI because everyone's like, oh, AI, AI. I was like, yeah, it's all about the data and the data tagging. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Definitely. Definitely. So we talked about a few things. I'm very excited where tech for wearable tech is going.
Yeah, this
Um,
was a wearable tech night, wasn't it?
yeah, definitely, definitely.
That was
You
fun.
know, with a little sprinkle of cautionary tales for Microsoft and
And
you know
Evernote, God, Evernote, we
Evernote.
miss
So
you.
good. I had it on every device. I paid for it,
I bet,
even when
yep.
they started getting greedy. Like greed is a real thing. Like it wasn't that they wanted customers to pay for it. It's a problem. It's just I remember one year the price just doubled.
No, yeah. It went, I remember I was paying, I think it was like 4.99 a month or something like
Yep.
that. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And then it went to like $25. And I was like, a month? Or
Yeah.
is that your new annual price for nope.
Yeah.
It was something like 20 bucks a month. It wasn't 25, but it was like 20 bucks a month, $19 a month. And I was like, no.
Let me tell you how baked in I was on Evernote. I bought the book with a little pen with a camera in it,
Oh yeah.
and you had to keep buying the little books. I still have it. Like I still have a couple of them. That's how baked in I was. I was locked in.
Have you heard of that tablet that It's called I don't know. Basically, it's a tablet that you could write
Yep,
on.
yep. One of my mentors here in Techstars has one, and I've been eyeing it so hard, because the writing helps with memory, and physically writing things
Yep.
just makes things better. And I've been eyeing that for so long.
So
I wanted.
I played
Sorry,
with
sorry.
one. I played with
Uh-huh.
one. This guy had one at WeWork, and I just
Uh-huh.
asked him. I was like, "Can I mess with that?" And he's like, "Sure." And I wish I could remember the name of it, but it was as good as you. It's insane.
It's like paper. It's like paper, right?
Yeah,
It's just like paper. It feels good.
yeah. It was great. I'm gonna look that up. It was
Yeah.
uh
Now, the one thing that kind of held me back, well, I'll tell you what, the reason why I didn't get, I'm an Amazon guy, I'm a Kindle guy. I was going to get the Kindle equivalent, but then they told me you couldn't search the documents.
yeah,
That's crazy.
remarkable.
Remarkable. Yep, yep,
Yep.
yep.
And it is, yeah. Oh, now they have a new one. There's a Paper Pro now, but yeah. So let me. I'm not gonna give you my email. Let's see if I can do this right. There. Yeah,
Yeah,
this. So this, Remarkable Paper Pro.
no,
Yeah,
I'm a fan, and Christmas is coming up. I've been a good boy a year. Let's see if Santa delivers one.
yeah. It's Remarkable 2 is what I played with. That's what he had. So apparently
Yeah.
there's even a better one now. But I watched it and I played with it and I was like, wow, it's really nice. And like he was drawing pictures. He mainly used it for illustrations.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
was
And,
like,
and this is coming from I have an Apple. I mean, I have a iPad Pro. I've had my iPad Pro for years. I love it, but this is still better for writing.
yeah, so here it is. The Remarkable 2 with the Marker Plus for it's 450.
Yeah, I
But let
think they even go all the way down to 250 or 300.
let's see how much this is. Try free for 100 days. Oh, 579. Let's see how much it is with everything. Standard marker. No, you want the plus. Do you want a
Yeah,
portfolio? I don't need a keyboard. That's the whole reason
no,
I'm not getting
that's
it.
the whole point, right? That's the whole point.
Yeah. Color black. So yeah, 779. That's with a
Ooh.
charging cable, marker tips, a book folio, and the Paper Pro with the Marker Plus. That's their
Now
top of the line one.
I'd say this: that price sounds crazy, but when you see one and
Yeah.
when you use one,
It's
it gets a lot less crazy.
right because it's and you can organize it. You can it's just so and it's crazy and it converts it to digital and you can actually use
Yep.
it on other devices if you really want to.
Now, I want to say this: the 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 service that does a conversion cost, like, it come when you buy it, it comes with a certain amount of time, but after a while you still have to pay for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was kind of like, what?
That
So
sucks.
I don't know if that's going to stay a thing, but I think that, like, if you have one and you stop paying for the service, then it doesn't transcribe your notes.
Oh. Oh, this is the Pro has color display. This is black and white. That's the big
Yeah.
difference.
I mean, I don't for this. I don't see why anybody will want color.
Well, if they're artists,
That's a
right?
good point.
Go for
Yeah,
illustrations.
I stand corrected, right? If you're using this as a drawing tablet, that's different.
Yeah. Wow, this has 64 gigs compared to 8. But if I'm writing 8 gigs worth of stuff, come on.
It's text.
It's
It's
text.
text.
Yeah.
So yeah, you probably write your whole life away and never fill that thing out.
Yeah, that's here we go. Let's see. Cloud storage. Yeah. I don't want to be a remarkable advertisement, but there you go.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool. Um, wow, 10 o'clock. Hey, we're on time. We started a
yeah.
little late and we're
Time flew by.
finishing right on time. So, uh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, thanks for wearing the spectacles and
yeah.
bringing them out. I'm pretty excited to see them. I'm sure I'm going to talk about them at work tomorrow. I'm going to be like,
Yep,
no, I
yep.
know somebody who actually has them.
Somebody stopped me and was like, "Hey, you're the only person I know who has them." I was like, "Really?" And I'll just say this: when I got them, something strange happened. Snap reached out to me on LinkedIn before I got them. It wasn't like I just applied, filled out a form, and then it's like, "Oh, here you go." Like somebody from Snap actually reached out to me on LinkedIn.
That's
I was like,
cool.
"Oh, really?" That was a nice touch.
No, I mean they do good stuff. I can't deny it. I'm pretty impressed with some of that. I I am not. I mean, I'm doing a podcast, but I'm generally not a big social media person. But
Mm-hmm.
everything I've heard about Snap and everything I've seen, their filters are like they've won that game. So now they're just
Mm-hmm.
taking what they're really good at and making it more available to everyone else.
Yep. I like that they're scratching their own itch, they're eating their own dog food, and they keep going. So
Yeah,
I'm excited about where this might go.
they are doing really well too. So good for them. Let's see what's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
let's see what Meta comes out with to keep up and how Apple's
Listen,
gonna
the
reduce the Apple
gauntlet has
Vision
been
Pro
thrown.
into glasses now. Pretty soon we're
Exactly.
gonna just have contacts that are gonna actually do it for us.
Oh my God. This really is gonna turn into an episode of Black Mirror.
Well, you know those contacts are not that far away, and as soon as they
Well, I mean, I've seen the prototypes. The one, I mean, the prototypes are like 2015, 14.
yeah.
I mean, they're not completely wireless, but it's just insane. Like some of the things that we kind of like, oh no, that's like 10 years away. Like no, it's
No, it's
actually
like next Tuesday.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So cool. Well,
yeah,
I'm gonna go and I will I'm sure I'll see you next week and we'll talk about topics this weekend and see what's up.
yeah, definitely.
Cool. Thanks again,
All right,
Shawn, and
absolutely.
I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
All right, good night. See you guys.
Bye everybody.